Laurentia Crystal Energy Technology reduces all greenhouse gases. Today we welcome Peter Webb to the program. Welcome, Peter.
Welcome. Yes, Jim. It's good to get together once again.
Yeah, well, it's been a couple years since I was at your office outside of
Yeah.
Ottawa, Ontario. Now, you have a long-standing history in agriculture. What's your story, Peter?
Well, I was born on a farm in England, and I went to agriculture college to get my degrees in animal nutrition and breeding and genetics. I had two pig farms in England that then I came to Ontario as a swine specialist and worked in that for about a year, and then I started my own pig farm, and we were one of the largest pig farms in Eastern Ontario. This is going back 35, 40 years now, where we had 650 sow farrow to finish, and of course, um, all that experience that I gathered in that period of time, barn odors and manure odors and the overall effects of raw manure on the soil and the life in the soil. So we've created this method now, we call it a system, that we can help every farmer, whether he's in pork, beef, dairy, grain, or a beef. So um, and we also did a period after I left the pig farm, and in cleaning lakes in Canada, United States, and big time in India. We were doing big lakes in India and putting oxygen into the water, and of course in creating an aerobic environment where the bacteria cleaned the lakes, and the smell went away and the water cleared. And wherever we put our technology, especially in lakes, the fish populations just exploded when we increased the oxygen in lakes. So our whole mission here is to support all life on this planet, be it the smallest bacteria or microorganism, whether it's in the soil, our bodies, or animals' bodies. We all depend on the bacteria in our bodies, and of course, um, without them, we wouldn't exist. So with all of the introduction of man-made frequencies, whether it's coming from ventilation systems or hydro or cell phones, or, there's just so many frequencies passing through every part of the planet now. So we realize that these frequencies do interfere with the life in digestive systems, whether it's the soil or animals or people. And by supporting the life, we came up with the solution of being able to block out those frequencies. Everything has a frequency. It doesn't matter what it is. So when you get a frequency coming from a computer, it's on a waveform, so we can send in an opposing waveform to shut it down. You're still using your computer, but you're not getting the harmful effects off it. So this is when we test our technology, and we use a term vitality. It's the life of and we use plants primarily, and we take a reading of the vitality, and then when we make a change, if the vitality goes up, then that stays. So that's how it's basically the way we keep our technology. So there's nothing going backwards. We're always moving ahead with the benefits of what we're doing. So yeah, it's been a journey, but I think now we've got something that can really make a substantial difference to livestock. We have many, many farms that we're working with our technology. The the first thing you notice is that it doesn't matter what kind of animals they are. Even bees become very quiet, and they're not as wild as they would normally be. They become very relaxed and easy to work with. So going on to, we found that with we'll say poultry barns, there we put the oxygen in, and we're taking out the greenhouse gases, which are your hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, methane, and CO2. And the technology captures those elements and turn them into carbon. And it's in the form of carbon C60 that is a liquid, brown liquid. And you can see it in the soil where we put in, on average, 25 to 35 tons of carbon per acre on the farms that we're doing. It's also critical to the health of the soil and the life in the soil, because it's like the glue that holds the soil together. Erosion doesn't take place, and fertilizers that are placed in the soil stay where they are. But coming back to the livestock, we find that with broiler barns, there is virtually no dust and hardly any smell. And the birds the mortality goes way down on them. So you have a better living birds, and they're eating maybe sometimes a little less, but they're gaining the same or more weight. With dairy, it's very noticeable because of the digestive systems on a dairy cow involves a lot of aerobic bacteria in the different chambers in their digestive system. So being able to get the oxygen into the animal's rumen and digestive system, the healthy animal actually improves dramatically. And of course, the whole health of the animal, even reproductive health, is improving. So, and then we have laying birds. Where laying birds in cages, they become very quiet. In fact, when they bring them in, they settle down much faster when we have the crystal energy in the environment. And again, there's very little smell. There is a sort of all of the gases are gone, like your ammonia and methane and CO2 and hydrogen sulfide. So you have a kind of an earthy smell. It's like it's an earthy smell. It's not, it's because we've taken those gases out of the barn. We've also, so when the government come in and swab the cages, for the years we've been doing this, there's never found any E. coli, staphylococcus, or streptococcus on the dust that's in the barn. So the health of the barn and the animals. And this is one of the things that I had this pig barn, and of course we had 15 employees, and you concerned about their health working in these barns, the dust and all the skin dander that comes off pigs. And so by increasing the oxygen in the barn, you're creating a healthy environment for the staff, the people, as well as the animals. Taking those greenhouse gases out of the barn, which corrode, like these hydrogen sulfide and ammonia, the fans and the ventilation systems rust. Panning can rust. So this takes that stress out of the building, so your equipment stays have a longer lifespan. And so that all the way through, we're looking at protecting the employees that work in these facilities. And but now with the oxygen going into the manure pits, the manure becomes aerobic, so there's very little smell when you spread it. And it doesn't, like in when you're putting it on forage crops, alfalfa grasses, and that kind of green leaves, it doesn't burn. It has the burn is taken away from it. So you're going to be helping your neighbors because you're really reducing the odor coming off and it off the fields, or even when you're that's the other thing the farmers found, that when you go to the pit, you only have to agitate maybe for 15 or 20 minutes and the whole pit's ready to go to start pumping. I remember when we started in this business many, many years ago, it used to take a day or more for them to get the pit agitated enough to start spreading. So there are benefits all the way along. We chose to put nitrogen frequencies into our technology to help with getting more nitrogen into the soil. So the air is 78%, roughly 78% nitrogen. And we found that by putting in a DC current charge, we can draw that nitrogen back into the plants and even into the manure. We found that the manure that's being spread has a much higher level of nitrogen values in it. So we have dairy farmers now that they just use their dairy manure on the cornfields, and they don't use any other fertilizer on the corn crops, and they're getting really, really good crops. Now, coming back to the technology of how it affects the quality of crops. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's soybeans, peas, corn, the bushel weight is much higher. The nutrient value of the crops is higher. That would include forages that are being used for dairy. So we've been working with this for years and years now, and I think we're at the point where we've got a product that works. It's very affordable. It doesn't cost much to buy one of our crystals to do. This is the crystal itself. This is green. It's primarily for crops. It's a chlorophyll. The blue is more for life. It's an oxygen. Because oxygen blue, it puts more oxygen into the environment. And then we have a new one, which we call the black one. This one is better than the other two because it's doing a bigger job. So 500 each of these are capable of doing 500 acres. So if you got a livestock facility and you've got land around it, then you can use that. The land can be used to sequester the carbon back into the soil. And, you know, all life basically is carbon based. So it's going to help the soil, the animals that eat that crop, even the people that, whether they're eating the eggs or the meat or whatever, it's just a healthier product. And there is nothing to plug in. It has a life. It never wears out. We have developed technologies that support it for the entire time. So if we come up with a new innovation of frequencies, we can then send it out to everything we've ever made. So these never become obsolete. We just keep upgrading them and upgrading them. They can go in the office on the farm or in the home. We don't recommend they go in the outside in the soil and we prefer to keep them out of steel buildings. You know, if it's in the home or in the office, it'll still go through steel, not as well as it does when you have a wooden. Some people have garden sheds. They put them in the garden shed. Boy, that does the whole farm really well. And it's just to keep them safe because they are beautiful, and people they'll walk away with them if they see them. So that's why we recommend you keep them in a safe location. And once in a while, maybe you just take a soft cloth and wipe the dust. If they get dust on, wipe that off. And they keep just working and working. So the when we're going into the oxygen component, we're running about 25 parts per million now, where the ambient air is around 12 parts per million. So we are increasing the oxygen in the air and especially in the water. These crystals will put these frequencies down 2,000 feet into the ground. So we're actually putting oxygen into all the groundwater. So when it comes back to the facility, your livestock, they're already getting oxygen. And one way you can tell if it's working, you can take a glass of water and let it sit on the counter, and you'll see all the little tiny bubbles stick to the inside of the glass. And so it's this is where we are right now, just wanting to be able to introduce this to the bigger communities, because we've been working, we do work in Europe and Ireland, United States, and India, of course, and other countries. So but the other thing is we are working, these were designed to help you to shield the effects of all electromagnetic fields that are being around the animals, like in the dairy industry where you're using robot milkers now. These are a godsend because everything just works better when you take away the harmful frequencies. And there's nothing, it doesn't affect any of your equipment. If you take a smart meter that's on the end of your barn or the house, there's a field coming off at 15 feet. Well, you could put this in the environment, and that field will be down maybe 6 inches away from the meter. So this is basically what it does. It holds the Wi-Fi into the Wi-Fi unit, but it doesn't reduce the effectiveness of it. So, and of course, the other thing it protects against is the blue light. This is coming from fluorescent lighting and LED lighting. One of the things that we do, which is unique, we put the picture of, we use a special camera that captures the energy of the sun. So we take the summer solstice sun and we put that into everything we make, as well as the full moon and the stars. And we've had a number of people that have had power failures with crops in their basements where they're growing legal marijuana, and 9 days without light at all, the crop ripens and becomes one of the best crops they've ever seen. So we've even had grapes that would ripen almost overnight. So every crop will benefit, and that's where you get into the fruit area where you want a high sugar. It improves the taste of the fruit and the quality of the fruit. See, this whole program is designed to improve the nutritional value of everything you're producing. And we've seen, you can see it out there. It doesn't matter whether it's cucumbers, potatoes, or sweet peas or peppers or whatever you're growing, wheat, barley, oats, it's all going to be a healthier crop, stronger plants. And one other innovation that we do, we have a crystal bowl with water in it, and we're actually broadcasting the frequency of water to the crops and into people's homes and barns, just to increase the humidity. So where we are in Eastern Ontario, we get it gets hot here, up to 30. Well, we're running around 30 degrees today, Celsius. And but when you go out in the morning, the roofs are wet and the grass is wet. So that we actually enhancing the survivability of plants, crops, all kinds of them, and this also benefits the livestock that we have. We have one of the things this technology does, it calms the animals down. It doesn't matter whether it's poultry, hogs, dairy. They become a lot easier to manage and a lot calmer. So, these are the main benefits of what we have. So I don't know how we're doing. Yes. Is there anything you want to contribute here, questions or Jim?
Yeah, we're going to do kind of a quick review here. So Peter Webb, you're an agriculture entrepreneur, the owner of Laurentia Crystal Energy. It's technology that reduces all greenhouse gases, sequestering of carbon, higher oxygen in the water and environment. Are there any other keys to success that people should know about this product? What is the number one thing that you want people to know?
Well, it is their home environment. We have a lot of this stuff now going into US for homes because of the septic systems. The gas is coming off the septic tanks, and it's usually around the home. So this totally eliminates. It takes all those gases coming off septic tanks or any place where there is a odor coming, and it just puts it into a carbon form. And because everything is deriving from carbon in the first place, all these gases that are being released. So we're just putting them back to the original form and putting them back in the ground. And we grow potatoes. That's one thing. The potatoes weigh a lot more, and they store forever, it seems. So any fruit, it doesn't matter whether it's an apple or dairy, or I've put a jug of milk in the refrigerator and left it for 3 months, and it still was good. So it supports, it stays good. So the fruit and everything, it has a higher nutrient value. So it's benefiting everybody. Whether it's the persons in the city or the consumers, the farmers, and all the way down. So yeah.
So it benefits everyone. And then specifically for livestock, it's good for swine, beef, dairy, and poultry. What is the effect on livestock that we need to be aware of, Peter?
Well, certainly, you we've seen barns where we've had dairy and losing body condition, eating a lot of food, and not producing as much milk as they should. As soon as we put the crystal in the milking part in the office in the dairy barn, immediately they dropped the amount of feed they were eating. Their body condition started improving, and the milk production starts going up. And we've seen this over and over. We do a lot of dairy farms in Wisconsin, and we're having the same success in that part of the world too. So it doesn't matter where we put this on the planet, they're going to work. And of course, we support them from here with all our machines, and just to allay anybody's fears. If I happen to out of here, we have a backup system that'll run forever. It'll support them for years and years and years to come. So, yeah, it's a real. I know for a lot of people, it's a big stretch to grasp something this simple, but it's in this case, simplicity is the answer to a lot of the problems that we have. We've had crops where they were putting on 40 applications of pesticide, and within a year they didn't need any because the crop was healthier. So you got to understand, bugs only go after sick plants, and so even animals, the wolves only hunt down sick animals. So anything that's unhealthy, the bugs come after, or the other means, whatever is looking for a meal. So when we put the DC current, because everything should be DC current on the planet, there were no more potato bugs. The potato bugs disappeared. We had a major problem with the Asian beetles getting into people's homes, and we put in a frequency and keep them right away. They don't come near anymore. So it's just a matter of finding a frequency that can benefit everybody, and that's what we've been doing. It's been our mission, and it's still our mission to keep on improving. So, yeah.
Well, this is great, Peter. And the last question, does it lower mortality?
Oh yeah, way lower mortality. I know my neighbor raises chickens, only maybe 20 or 30, but since we've had this technology, he hasn't lost a bird. And we've had many big broiler outfits that have said the mortality rate drops down dramatically. We don't have any figures on beef or dairy. Well, the mortality those areas you don't see big mortality in dairy, but certainly chicks you do, and especially laying birds. We got laying birds 10 months into production, still running 95% production, and the shells are good. So there is quite a big, well, there's a big payback on this technology, because I'm a farmer, and I just keeping it as low a price as we can. We have no means of wanting to get rich. We just want to help as many people as we can, and that's what we're doing, and it's going very well. Okay.
Well, Peter Webb, thanks for joining us today and sharing about the Laurentia Crystal Energy Technology. Any final words for our audience?
Well, if anybody, like, we're open. If anybody want to email us or talk to us, we'll help anybody. We just anything we supply, we talk to the people, and we have large farms now in the prairies that are using this technology, and we talk to them whenever they want to talk, and this is anybody that has an interest. We can certainly talk to them and explain to them how it works, and the safety of it, and it's just that easy. We don't like calls in the middle of the night, but we do take them during the day, and we always get back to people if they leave a message. So and we and like you got to bear in mind that I'm not young either. I'm 81, going on 82, but I have a body. I'm just healthy, and I'm looking forward to another 20 or 30 years. There's no reason why we can't do it and regenerate our bodies, and this is one of the things that this is helping with the human body, is to keep them healthier. So yeah, it's something that we're very proud of, and honored to be able to put this to help the people that really need it. Okay.
And the phone number, Peter?
Yeah, 613-258-4896, or they can go to our website and get our email address, and email us, and of course, then we can give you full costs and availability. Because we have a large glass making company that is producing our products for us, so there's no problem getting it made up. If we have a big inventory of product anyway. So yeah. Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Peter.
Okay. Thanks.